Medium Isaiah Motozula more or less the 7 dispensations. Now come on, you war the 70 weeks of Daniel chapter 9 la. More you last week la. More nyamene termine ye puzzle. You make it pause. Come on, you hanika san. Ela niya wo video. Na fa di video wo na niya de juri kan bia wo mette pause. Après eba adu atrola. Nyamene okuru the grace mo nyamene leleti. Mo Bible say for God so loved the world. Mo ti wo ma idoba na yawudi e yango an leti. Ye puzzle. Onguro ke ba adu azore na oma mo ye boba ka sesola bazechi. Mo ti okay 70 weeks of Daniel chapter 9 verse 24 to 27. Mo yikela okay yeluma ye 49 years plus 434. Me have 7 weeks plus 62 weeks. 69th week mo ye pause la. Zahani ala sasa yako. You had in Kosovo to my bobolo. Then when started the 7 dispensations. Mo you had in a borobola. You had in a borobo the 7 dispensations in it. Si near Nua. More bobo in Kosovo thing. More or started la. Ya freke man innocent. Man innocent and not innocence. Mo yeben we war Genesis chapter 1 to chapter 3. I can create Adam and Eve. Now dispensation eka. Ojika no mam kamo Adam on Eve nyamre boru be gware tole nyenu. La on marbe. Ejoke mo ngwane ejoke salvation gospel of this dispensation mukoke. Do not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But not kama no more only knowledge of good and evil. But not dife. We see in Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. Genesis chapter 2 verse 16, 17. Genesis chapter 3 verse 6. And Genesis chapter 3, 22 to 24. Bon umu ko so tun wake na ahia mu ko tianzi mo milene be ya lanzo sibe Adam and Eve ya lanzo sibe la. The end came to them. E wi re ne ya ba unzo na mari jibe vili to le nyanu na o mare be yibo vi garden of Eden nyanu no over bu vindere no vare umma bo vre Sarafin o mal business ale mo kongra ba wulu mo bi ko mo ti nuwa. Yeah, dispensation be okomo tozu nyo vinderia. But Adam and Eve be vindela but woro down. Muti eka tozu dispensation of under conscience. Anake conscience. Mo yebe mwi wo Genesis chapter 4 to Genesis chapter 8. Mukleke Cain and Abel. Enoch on Methuselah. Na eka ne noko Awurade no ko val marbe kama obede kramanula na o marbe ngwane ejoke salvation gospel wo dispensations are in mole conscience dispensation enula o say do good and do not do evil or love what is good and hate what is evil na nuwa ya ngobo etanu ngomiala. Now, this dispensation no ko gari yore. This dispensation no gari yore. Na yore nu. Imaye dispensation ka yore. Is a dispensation bi okomo tozon sala yaga. A man in authority over the earth. Human government. Human government. Human government more dispensation of human government la. Matters in Sala. Bible clear ke. Na anson sibe don ezagare. Salvation gospel more dispensation come more believe God and build an ark. Meri me be nye nyamre bantunu a etanu ko mi ala ya ne bre ya. And Yanua, Genesis chapter 9 to Genesis chapter 11. Noah, Shem, on Nimrod. Na banzuro nyamene. Na yɛn Genesis chapter 9 verse 1 2. Genesis chapter 11 verse 1 to 4. Genesis chapter 11 verse 5 to 8. Omo ekoso tu woke. Salvation gospel mo be Israel. So Genesis chapter 6 nyamene mane Noah bobole akene. Na ovar bu ti owuranu na menu mo lo akejo ke na hire bela ban va mo to ke Noah oye omemi yansa ye be mamale insan be ye menu mo che e nyamre va do wuranu mo ti be vindela. Then another dispensation on that promise. Dispensation on that promise. Mo ti menza ala na ke tani ya ke bere ya ani okon moti oyedede la ane ye bozore moti dusde bi ye aziria yamene destruction bulegare mo omane confusion of Babel gare na ani don renua très bon. Mutisa Noah you got fourth dispensation. That's the dispensation on the promise. Exodus chapter 12 and Acts chapter 1. Genesis chapter 12 to Exodus chapter 11. The dispensation of promise. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, only Joseph. And the promise in it. Now, come on, dispensation, fourth warning, third warning. Merumo bevunuala out of the dispersed of descendants of the builders of Babel. Babel, so merumo bevunuala Noah abozwa mamo mo be yede be Babel mo ansos be gale mo nyamle destroy de ko ba ne no mo mala ne don vinuala be descendants mo ko so ti mo begala namene on yal be nuwa dede eza of varia un vozele ogare comme ye ici ye be nwi wo Genesis chapter 12 to Exodus chapter 11 là no da no ko salvation gospel mo wakala ye malike believe God's promise. Now God promised Abraham, God promised Isaac, God promised Joseph, not all promises. God promised Jacob, now all promises Joseph in Noko. Ashianunu, come on, I'm going to buy a yardene. Or buy a yardene. Now all valley, all the quoi Egypt, Kebefrey, Abraham ko obozo ma ba ho akra zunlunu la muti angba no ko ba ho akra zunlunu wo Egypt manu muti se ni Genesis chapter 12 verse 1 to 3, Genesis chapter 13 verse 14 to 7, Genesis chapter 15 verse 1, Genesis chapter 26 verse 3, Genesis chapter 28 verse 12 to 13, Makiyaga Exodus chapter 1 verse 13 to 14. God's promise, believe God's promise. I call it dispensation, salvation gospel for dispensation of on the promise. Inti, mene na yere de mo, akibe nie ban dunu ala. O dano ko de dispensation on the promise in gari yere. Namo o renu ala leke. Dispensation of law. More the fifth dispensation. Exodus chapter 12, Acts chapter 1, which is the of Moses, judges, the kings, and the prophets. Now, Noah is a nyamre mare, Slamo on ne, I last biala, guane. Again, the grace of God came to the help of helpless man and redeemed the chosen people out of the hand of the oppressor, that is the Egyptians, in the wilderness of Sinai. He promised them the covenant of law. Muti. I can't come up promise like this the dispensation of law, the salvation gospel more or care or dispensation general obey God and keep His commandments. Say near Bible nenua kebemu wonua. Obey God and keep His commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. Muti bemayani ake miri ni zobe nuzo. Muti Exodus chapter 19 verse 5. Also now, if you indeed obey my voice and keep my commandments, you shall be a special treasure to me above all the people, for all the earth is mine. Still now, Benny. Hey, Nake Yaroboro. Nua, Yanyaman is a zero. Dispensation for Framo or Bukere. Okay. Come on, you muni. Daniel 17 weeks nenu. 69. A pause la. Kedan ko nyamre a pause. Naka eva grace in ega. Moti 61 dispensation of grace. Ima kakaka ya wu nuara. Mo class ya wu no ri ya ngwanera. Dispensation of grace. The church age. Acts chapter 2 and Revelation chapter 3. Yakinga chapter 3 de yeke June 19 yebo wu mo ko tun wake. Come on, you prepare personality. Ni prepare the bobo butini ala. Motisa yakinga John chapter 6 verse 47. Sa yakinga John chapter 10 verse 27 to 28. John chapter 5 verse 24. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 8 to 9. Na ekanoko salvation gospel more dispensation of grace ikamo enene nara yeme ya dinua more ya yere ya rapture ya ba ya pezola. Salvation grace in gospel ni clear. Confess Jesus as the Lord and believe in His resurrection. Romans chapter 10 verse 9. That if you confess with your mouth that the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised Him up from dead, you will be saved. Eka mirine. Kaka miya wuru miya bize ya wonke aso dispensation of grace ika. Mirine be real dunwa. Na dispensation of grace ika debi oba petro ye ma le rapture. Na se kaka mo ye tinde ye na miya die na la ye rapture be zia. Ke nyamre ba yi ya solo no mo le ye daye la. Asana ye yamaka na ejusura. Yanze mutajema da mi union. Da mi ye the last dispensation. More all kingdom dispensation, the dispensation, man under the personal reign of Christ. Okay, the kingdom age, Revelation chapter 20, verse 1 to 6. Eka, ansana mo eka ke zira, ye be jungre, nkwa ke ye bobozre. Christ bara ya sonene, e vlun su anzi, ye oni ye bara zrazo, ye mu ye evreka. Revelation chapter 20, verse 1 to 6. Mutikaka dispensation of grace ikame ya wonu ala ye de otasenio. Muti ye chance me wonu ala ke be me yenu. Last week ne otabare nyamre pause 69 mo ole dispensation of grace ne on ye otibe yi azora to me di madam yenu. The bad was after the dispensation of grace in zone joke ye bezia. Nzo de bi ye obaga. Ti ye yanso so na amba Christ mo oba ye zira. The bad was